Hi, everyone. Oh, do you know what? A joy, a joy, joy, joy. Again, it's my lovely crew, not my lovely crew, the lovely crew, because it's not about me, it's about everyone. And, it's like the more I see the clown show outside, the more I'm like, yeah, we made the right choice. We decided to come out of that nonsense and get together and organize and help each other out. Basically, that's what the PLC is. And I'm now starting to get really excited because we're getting to the point where we can start activating some of the things in the next stages of PLC. So what's really good about that is that I can try and explain it on a basic level to people who don't, because I call it invernomics. It's kind of like inverse economics, and I'll try and explain it in a simple way. So I gave Jane a document called Funneling Humans. I'm not sure. Have we got Eli on the call today? Not as yet, I don't think. We may be getting Eli to give us part 3 of his presentation for his project in Wales, which is to buy a large property and to have a health and heritage sort of trust fund where you're having old heritage fruits and vegetables, and you're rearing animals in a holistic way, and we're also helping to heal people and stuff like that. So we may get Eli on the call, but if not, he's been on the previous call, so you can check out the presentation that he gave for his holistic project as well. And of course, we're going to be in the Shine seminars in August in Bristol on Wye. Oh no, Bristol 7 on Wye. That's it, near Bristol, which is a lovely field, and loads of talks and stuff. And it's a family event, and it's very holistic. And it's how we're going to have a PLC hub there, a temporary one for the time of the festival, or the event, I should say. It's not really a festival. So that's going to be really exciting, because then we can show kind of your typical hub, what it would look like in your location, sort of thing. So yeah, I'm going to go around everyone and see how their week's been, like we do, just to catch up with everyone. Shareva, you're top left on the screen today. How's your week been?
It's been a good week. Oh, I think I'd mentioned that I had that speaker that came and spoke to my aerial group. She wanted some feedback from me on how it was received, and I don't know because I didn't actually follow up with the people who attended, but it sort of has sparked in her sort of the desire to maybe come up with a workshop or to find a way of sharing her knowledge and also promoting her business. So I'm happy to have facilitated that. So yeah, that's that. And
Excellent.
yeah.
Excellent. Well, this is another good example of how you big up other people. It's you're providing space and also an opportunity for her to talk about her, chiropractic stuff and how to help people who are athletes who are doing, a lot of rigorous stuff. So, if she can get some talks out and to get to an audience, then that would be really helpful for people who are training and things like that. So another example of how we encourage at PLC each one of each other to do our projects, to create lovely projects to help other people out, friends and family and stuff like that. So thanks, Shareva. That's great to hear. And if she does a talk, it would be a good idea to record it, because then you can send that out to more people and help more people as well. So great. So who have we got up next? We've got my eyesight's terrible, It's a chap with headphones, and he's got a black hat on, and his name is
Christy C.
Christy C. Hi, nice to meet you.
Hello, Ma. Hello, folks. Yeah, my name is Christy, and I haven't been here in a while. I jumped in a few times last year, and I live in
So
Ireland
yeah,
and based in Dublin. And so, yeah, for me, I'm just continuing to support our Star family that continues to interact with me on different levels. I might have showed some images last year of different beings that I've captured on camera and things like that. So yeah, that is my role and continues to play out in that direction really. So for me, setting up workshops and webinars and things like that. I actually have one this weekend in Galway, the west of Ireland. Like, you know, I was invited to. So that is my task. I was sort of um, nominated 10 years ago as a galactic ambassador on Earth. So that role is beginning to open up over the last few years, like, they're giving me enough evidence to show me their presence and things like that, and they interact through me in various ways. So I'm quite happy completing that task. It is quite interesting, and there is more people, as you know, becoming aware of our star family coming forward, really, for this amazing shift that we all speak about, like, you know. So it's great to be, I'm privileged to be part of that and also to be part of this group. So thanks very much for allowing me to share.
Oh, wonderful. That's lovely to hear. This is the thing, you know, I mean, it depends where you are as an individual as to whether you understand about life being out there in the universe or not. And in some ways, we're like kind of Loganberry fruit. We each fruit on the bush at our own individual time, rather than like a raspberry bush, which all fruits at once. And so, as we kind of each individually kind of remove all that programming and open up our minds and our awareness to new things, new ideas come in, new understandings of things come in, and your kind of awareness expands completely. And as you're doing that, you kind of realize that actually, for there to be all this biodiversity on this planet, it's had to have come from somewhere. It's had to be diverse, you know, to be existing for a long time, to be so diverse and multiplous around. And really, it's not exclusive to just Earth. You know, life is, it's a big coral reef out there. And there's plenty of evidence that Star Family have been visiting us from dot, literally from dot. And it's only this sort of modern government population concept, perception management, that thinks that they don't exist because they don't. You know, it's a rare phenomenon, number one. Number two, people are, you know, they see what they believe. So if you believe that they don't exist, you won't see them. You'll dismiss it as a satellite, or you'll just cut yourself off to that that phenomenon that does exist out there. So what's wonderful about the holistic flavor of PLC is that it's bringing that template from different extraterrestrials to Earth, of that holistic society, you know. So we're really, you know, blending those principles of, you know, free trade, heart-based unity consciousness, and all those things which Star Family have been doing on other planets for you know, millennia. So it's just new to Earth because we've been, you know, indoctrinated into this corrupt society that's been infiltrated for about 3,000 years. And we're only just waking up to that fact. And that's a beautiful thing, because all that hidden control system is dismantling, it's collapsing in on itself. Mm-hmm. And people like us are getting together and saying, hey, well, we've got to come up with something better. Well, and we know the ways of coming up with something better and things like that. So I could go on forever about it, but I won't. It's we're doing it. That's the main thing. We're not just talking about it, we're actually doing it. So it's brilliant. Eli, brilliant to see you. Thank you, Christy C.
Thank you,
Eli. Lovely to see you. I'm just going to get round to some other people, and then we'll get on to the presentation. So who have we got now? Jackie. Hi, Jackie.
Hiya.
Nice. Hi, you right?
Yeah, I haven't been on here for a long time. I've been so busy, and I'm being quiet now. Things are kind of like slowing down for me. So I'm just aware of the silence, shall we say? And for me, well, there's been a bit of a chain reaction for me this week. When I don't have the television on and I don't have the radio on when I'm driving long distances. You know, I'm a lorry driver, and I just happened to park up at a garage to go get some food, and it was over the radio in the shop when I heard the news that Andrew had been arrested.
Mhm.
And I totally forgot where I was. And I let out this almighty, yes, right? And this weight fell off my chest. And then I was absolutely beaming inside. You know, I can't tell you what it felt like, the euphoric of it all. So once that weight was taken off my chest, yesterday morning I had to be out the door early, about 5:30, and the sky was all clear, and I was aware of the planets and the alignments and that, and I thought, oh, I'll just have a look to see what I can see, as you do. And I saw two bright beams in the sky, and I'm looking at them, thinking, oh, those must be two of the planets that are aligned at the moment. And I kept looking at them, but one of them moved all of a sudden. And I thought, wow, it isn't a planet then, it's something else. But it was very bright, but very high in the sky, very, very high in the sky. And I kept looking at it, and I was watching it, and I was waiting for the sound of an aeroplane. Couldn't hear one. And then next minute, out of the blue, come out of nowhere, there was four little, I want to call little satellite things, following it. But as they were following it, the two in front, one was zigzagging, like it was trying to correct its course. The other one next to it was following it. And then the other two were following behind. But one of them in the front reversed, if you want to call it that, reversed and waited for the other two to catch up. And then they all went off together.
Brilliant.
Into the distance. Now, when I was watching it, all this happening, and I saw them correct their journey, I thought, God, they're zigzagging, but the hovering, zigzagging, reversing, I thought, that's not normal. And
No.
as I was watching them, this feeling of pure joy and calmness hit me in the chest. So obviously, when I was so euphoric about Andrew, it had released something in me.
Yeah,
So
your heart was in joy, basically,
yeah,
and it resonated.
yeah.
So
And when that happened, I felt this calmness and this joy, but also it was for me, as I was looking at them, and the cloud suddenly was coming in, and I couldn't see them. But at the same time I was looking at them, I was also very aware in the inside of me, I was meant to see those.
absolutely, this is the point, because we're pioneers, we're ordinary everyday folk, but actually to Star Family and to the higher up beings, we're actually really noble and elite starseeds. We are heart-based, heart-driven, and we're actually taking the point from being passive about that to proactive. And that's what they love. The fact that we're working on ourselves, we're heart-based, we're looking to see whether we're causing conflict with anyone else first before we blame anyone else. And we're dealing with our own baggage and clearing that out. And we're becoming more expanded beings, higher vibration beings into that light. So Star Family absolutely love people like us who are working on ourselves, who have got our own sovereignty, if you like, our own divinity, finding it again. And, working to help other people and share all these lovely higher frequencies. So that's why they're popping in to your awareness and making themselves known, because they're like, right, let's give this lady a salute. Let's pop by in her, give her a little flyby, give her a bit of joy. And that's what's happening to people who are, connecting with Star Family, and also not necessarily connecting with Star Family. They're going the more holistic route, and they're going the more loving unity route. So brilliant. Thank you, Jackie. I appreciate that.
All right, thank you.
Jane, how are you? How's your week been?
Interesting. Yeah, I went to this talk on Monday night about syntropic agroforestry, but in a very, very interesting place, which is going to be an event centre, a garden that they will open with an apothecary, kind of an apothecary garden, and a perennial vegetable garden of British species. So all, you know, very
Good.
interesting what they're doing there. It's going to be a while before they finish doing all the building work. Lots of interesting people there too, you know, for sort of networking, which was great. And the talk on syntropic agroforestry, I have to keep saying that word to myself to remind, it's about growing in rows or in circles, but with trees, so different heights of plants. So
Oh
you
yes, yeah.
start with, and it's all perennial. So apart from possibly the bottom layer, which could be more annual vegetables, but it feeds itself after a few
Yes.
years. You have to start it with fast growing trees, which you eventually cut out, and then the rest of it gets going. So fascinating, really interesting.
Good stuff. I mean, this
Yeah.
is the way it's going to go, really. I think, you know, as the supply chains collapse, and you know, food, meat, and all that stuff becomes more expensive, people are going to seek out their local producers and growers and things like that, and there are going to be these free food forests or these gardens or you know, community projects growing and all that sort of stuff. So the more that these can come online and the more people get to know them and work in them and, you know, support them, the better. So can you keep us posted on that? Because we'd like to, you know, promote other people's projects that are similar to our thinking as well. Great, thank you, Jane. So who have we got up next? We've got someone beginning with N. Is that Nicole? Oh, is that Yay! Hi. Brilliant.
Hello, everybody. This is the first time I've been on here. What do you know? What I've just written down: a peaceful pool of positive productivity. Oh, thank you, guys. I've been a bit in the kind of depths of, you know, just all the stuff that we've always known about, you know, and what I don't want to be necessarily is a bridge for people to walk over in their awakening process. So I'm kind of consciously leaning back and I'm watching interesting people talk about stuff, but I'm not following the narrative. I don't own a TV or what have you. But yeah, I've been crying a lot, you know, like it's hardcore, but yeah, thank you. We're here to anchor something different, aren't we? So yeah,
absolutely. And it's all, I mean, it's all, I've talked about this several times. It's not only all coming up in the planet, so the energies are changing on Gaia, but it's all coming up within us. So all that shadow work, all that inner child, all that grief, all that collective kind of gnosis about all the crap that's going on, all the evil stuff that's coming out to the surface, it has, you know, that means it's not underground anymore. That means it's all
exactly.
risen out.
We have to feel it to heal it, don't we?
Exactly.
But can I just share something a bit mad? I was going to I do music for mushroom ceremonies, and I was on my way to a rehearsal on the weekend, and I bumped into a man I had a 40-minute wait in the train station. This is a gentleman called Julian Whiting. Now, he's a guy who was abused as part of a church school. And he was on his way to give a keynote speak to a load of priests, like head honcho priest guys, about safeguarding. And I met him on his way, like, it's just like, and he came and found me on the train and he said, I don't know how to start this speech. And he got his papers out. He was asking me, he was taking notes. And I said, maybe you can just ask what safety is. What does it mean to be safe? You know, that's just a really good starting point. But anyway, he gave me his business card. Look at this business card.
Oh.
And do you know what his job title is on here?
What's
this
that?
Is great. Appointment setter. So I'm going to make myself some business cards that say Nicole Early, conscious co-creator.
Love it. Excellent. The weirder
anyway,
names, job titles, the better.
Yeah. Lovely to be here.
Well, thank you. That's, I mean, it's such a joy. I love it when high frequency souls can intervene in situations. We find ourselves in certain situations where our input is needed at that very second. And you've probably shaped the way a load of those people think now because of that little interaction with him. So this is what it's all about. We're sharing like beacons, our frequencies, just our natural light, just the way that we are, our natural signature. That's all we have to do. There's no kind of like amazing superpowers or anything that we have to take on. Those are our superpowers, just showing that love, basically. So brilliant. Thank you, Nicole. I really appreciate that. And thank you for coming on the call, and I hope to see you more if we can. Brilliant. So who are we on to now? We're on to Pamela. Hi, Pamela. Nice to see you. I think that you have to tap the screen or something, and yay, we got it.
I got it. Sorry about that. I just thought mouse was on the other screen. Hi, everybody. My week was okay. I've been reading a book for a book club that's kind of got me vacillating back and forth. It's called The Moment of Lift by Melinda Gates. And it's not something I would normally read, but it's really, she's, all about empowering women in particular and around the world and some of the projects they've been doing around the world. And it just, I guess sometimes I think that we're making progress. And then I read a book like this and I'm like, there are so many millions of people out there who aren't doing well and are still under these difficult situations, particularly women, where their bodies are controlled by other people, men in particular, that they're not allowed to take birth control, none of the things they have access to that we take for granted in our first world societies. So I've been vacillating back and forth between the grief with that and the upset with that, and also how to empower us going forward, because I know from my own experiences that women are still disempowered in our societies in a terrible way. And, how we build societies where that's not true and where it's more balanced.
Well, yeah, absolutely. That's what it's all about for me, balance and harmonics, literally the two go together. For me, I have a bit of an issue with Melinda Gates because obviously she was with Bill Gates.
Exactly.
And I know that as part of the cabal strategy is to talk about the things that they create. And that's including the harms. But they talk about them as if they exist from another, created from another source. But effectively, they, nobble politicians, and politicians are puppets. And that's, for example, Bill Gates is working with NICE, and the British healthcare, and pays 20 million or whatever it is into their funds and with those politicians, and then they create the laws. And then, so I tend to think this imbalance is built into the system on purpose to then describe, and then say, hey, there's a problem here, let's come up with a solution. Men and women are equal. They're both, make the whole, and they're whole in their own selves as well. We complement each other. And where someone talks about imbalance or bias on one side, that's when they're creating the division. Because personally, I feel that, there's just as much injustice with men, male suicides, because there's no roles for them, because all the institutions have been feminized. There's no role models for males and stuff like that as well. So we could harp on about one gender or another, but basically it's both genders. It's all parts of society are under pressure and under suffering to survive, because all the top echelons are harvesting our energies, our wealth, our energy, our attention, our time, and these elites love to describe that. They even come along to events where they create, explosions on streets and stuff, and then they come along 2 weeks afterwards and shake the hands of the kind of victims that they've created and stuff like that. This is the sickening kind of way in which evil presents itself with virtue, and fooling the people into thinking a certain thing. So when they highlight imbalance like climate crisis or women's particular issues, they are steering the narrative. And actually, we should look at both male and female and the whole society, children in particular, mostly, you know, at the moment, I think is more important. And it doesn't matter to me the gender at all. It's an individual, a soul that's suffering. You know, where we go on the bias thing, that's where we create the division, because then we're speaking of one thing and ignoring the other. So I do appreciate that women have issues still around the world. Absolutely. You know, female genital mutilation, marrying into, you know, dowries, all sorts, you know, loads, even down to like graphene oxide in pads, you know, harming women's genitalia and things like that. So there's a lot of work to do, but on both sides, you know, and I do not subscribe to people like Melinda Gates who moralizes. I know you're not saying that. I know you're not saying that,
it's a book club. I don't choose the book. That's why I think I've gotten all riled up about this, because
she's got you focused on that.
Well, no, but I also recognize where it's coming from the cabal side, and it just pisses me off.
Yeah.
And then, you know, I start to think about what can I do about it, and I'm back to, well, I won't get into that, but you know, I start to think, I don't know. It's a back and forth thing, because it does bring up grief. It brings up, you know, just this shocking, horrid world that we live in, and how do we start to change it? And I know we're all working on that, but it's not going to happen overnight. It's probably not even going to happen in my lifetime. But nonetheless, sometimes I want to get up there into some of these galactic councils and start saying, here I am. That's why I call myself Pamela of Earth, because I am an Earth representative and I have a lot to say. And I don't like not having that opportunity to have my voice heard. So in those places where it matters. So yeah.
I absolutely agree with you. You know, it's a lot of this is nuance that people, you know, who are not very good at noticing subtlety, or don't even know the sort of past history of the cabal and all that, they would not even know. Even like, you know, what's its name, Obama's wife, Michelle, you know, becoming a woman, that's even also taking the mick, because she's a, you know, she's not. Anyway, so the whole point is, well, I'm glad that you can speak these things out, actually, and it is important that we talk about both men and women's issues, but it's also important that we reveal the method in which people are being divisive as well, to bring us into that black or that white, or this or that, right or wrong. So I'm glad that you actually mentioned it, because it helped me to bring out that subtlety, the way that the cabal operate, to wind people up, you know, and then get them kind of like focused on particular biases and stuff like that. So let me know how you kind of like conclude, maybe like next week, what you're kind of, after a few sleeps on it, let me know what
I can't read the book right now. I had to put it down. But it's going to be interesting how I present at the book club itself, because they're a group of generally matrixed people. And so what I'm trying to get them, and I'm always trying, no matter what kind of conversation we're having there, to get them to recognize that there's bigger powers at play, and those bigger powers are creating these situations. And because again, they're doing exactly what you're, you know, saying. You're looking at the end result and focusing on that, and then working from there. And it's the same thing with the holistic society, right? I mean, the reason why I look off-world for models is because I know they don't work on this planet. And you know, we have to try, obviously, and we have to do our best at creating what we can, but to take the existing and try and morph it isn't going to work. It has to start from a different place, and we have to understand what that different place is in the first place, you know, to get to that understanding. Okay.
Absolutely. So, I totally agree. And what's so lovely is that here we are all present today, doing that, showing up and being proactive and doing that, you know, in our own particular flavor. And that combined energy, the mean of the average mean of the best things will come out of that for our, you know, future society. So brilliant. Thank you, Pamela. I really appreciate you on the call today. So who have we got next? We've got, is that Barbara? Hi, Barbara.
Just to say it's 8:30, Matt.
Oh, is it? Oh my goodness me. Is
Hi.
Barbara?
Oh,
Oh,
hi, I'm here.
Hi, Barbara. Nice to see you.
Hi. Good. Nice to see everybody as well.
How's your week been?
It's been good. I went to um, Washington State last week. I took a small trip to a town called Bellingham, which is west on the west side in the Puget Sound. And it's very near the Canadian border. Um, but I wanted to travel there because I took my children and I to Western Washington this past summer, and the area really resonated with me, and I wanted to go back and just kind of see how I felt and get a sense of what it's like during this time of year. And um, I guess all I'll say is that when I was on the plane flying in, and just about to land in Bellingham, I just, heard this voice in my head, and it just was like, "You are home. Like, I
Mhm.
am home." And I just kind of, I mean, I got kind of emotional, but that was confirmation for me. Um, Aside from the fact that I love it there and it's beautiful. So now I just need to figure out how or what that's going to look like when I get there.
Great.
To get
That's
there.
progress, isn't it? Really?
Yeah.
Because you were saying to me a while back, you were saying, this was the place I went to and I really liked it. And I thought this could be a possible location. And then I said to you, well, write down the kind of markers that give you that feeling of a really nice place and stuff. And it's lovely to hear that you've gone back there and you got that message. Maybe that's your higher self coming in going, you can relax now, kind of thing. So it's just a case of working out how you get there and that kind of and that vision that you can see for yourself there as well. If you can visualize that as much as possible and write down the things for that, it will be a much easier process because it will all have been there first, sort of thing. So I'm really pleased by that progress. I think that's really good. So yeah, well, excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you, Barbara.
Yeah. Thank you.
So who have I not? Christine. We've got Christine. I haven't got to. And is that all? I think. And then Eli. Hi, Christine.
Justina.
Oh, Justina. Oh, yes, Justina. Hi, Christine.
Hi,
Are you-
Matt. I'm all good here, so just
Okay.
bypass now. Thank you.
Right, gotcha. No probs. Hi, Justina. Thank you, Christine.
Hiya. I'm also
Hi.
good. I'm kind of experienced Facebook craziness when I just started my Facebook page like a week ago, 2 weeks ago. After 10 years absent on that media, I'm like quite overwhelmed. I'm reached over 1,000 people. It's like,
Wow.
what's happening? Someone even wanted to do podcast with me. I'm like,
Yeah.
what? I'm just a bit shocked that this all stuff, but yeah, it's good. I'm on holiday now in Cumbria, so amazing about Barbara, about home feeling. I feel like I'm in Poland, in Scandinavia. All the best feelings here. I even have a cry in forest. It was so good. So I'm good.
Good. Oh, that's brilliant. Justina, everyone is doing some, wonderful projects, doing her art, her light language arts and paintings, and doing some lovely creator content online. And what's so nice is that you're flourishing as well since you've done that. And I love seeing the stuff that you're putting on social media. I think it's great. And the more reach that you can get, the your better your income will be. But also, the more that you'll be helping people, like you did on Valentine's. Like you said, someone actually bought your cards and gave it to someone else, and that was so important to you that someone had done that with your artwork and stuff like that. So amazing. You're doing some really good stuff. So Keep it up. Brilliant. Thank you.
Thank you.
Eli, I think we're on to Eli now. Finally, sorry to keep you waiting, Eli, but it's nice to catch up with everyone. Nice to see you.
Hi, Matt. Yeah, no, it was really lovely just to be with everyone and just kind of land a little bit. Yeah, it was really great to hear what people are at the moment and all the amazing things people are doing. I'm really on an incredible timeline for myself, and I need to pull in a lot in this Zoom because there's a lot of stuff going on for me. It's quite powerful. There are lots of ancient codes coming in, like really powerful codes. I've started to study the Nag Hammadi scriptures, but actually study them as opposed to just have little dips in and out now and then. So I'm going to talk a little bit about that actually, Matt, because it's really fundamental to my project.
It's a wonderful document. So
yeah,
so go for it.
So for people who don't know, I've actually got a copy here. I bought
scroll if you like.
Yeah, but I don't know whether you can you see that?
Nag Hammadi scripture.
Yeah. So I'm just going to talk to people about these scriptures. They were found. There was 52 texts that were found in Egypt in 1945, and they were written by the Gnostics, who were a group of esoteric Christians around 200 AD. And at the time, there was a lot of different types of Christianity, and these people had a knowing, and it's a gnosis, and it's where the Hermeticism, know thyself, comes from, and it's about people who have the divine spark. So it's people like us who know about natural law and about the goodly godliness of the world, living in harmony with everything. And it's really interesting because I've been around the kind of I've understood some of the ideas in there, and I've read bits and pieces over the years. And if you understand the way in which those they were all wiped out, by the way, they were completely wiped out by the church, and actually if you start reading the scriptures, they're actually instruction manuals for the internal technology of the human being to actually be able to work in this physical world. And the story of the world, the creation of the world in those texts that they found in 1945, is that the world was not created by a perfect God. It's a very difficult story to get your head around, and the translation, there's a book called the Pistis Sophia, which is a massive, great book, and it's about Sophia. And I say, in fact, I said it twice now at the Shine Seminars, which is my event, that I'm here working for the Sophianic codes. I've said it twice, and I don't know why I said it. I understand who Sophia is. It means wisdom, and she actually created the earth in pure, divine, feminine creativity. It's a very complex story, but if you look at these texts, they've had such a profound effect on me over the last, I don't know, 4 or 5 months, that it's becoming all consuming. It's really very, very powerful, because these texts have been framed by the wider academic community as a set of ancient texts. They're old writings by some people a long time ago, but they're not. They have been hidden for 1600 years in a pot in the side of a hill, and they were found by a guy called Muhammad Ali in 1945. They were only fully translated in 2007. These codes that have been given to us is an if you're talking about downloads, this is the most extraordinary set of downloads that has come up in this kind of Indiana Jones way, and they're so powerful, these stories, and it's to do with the creation spirit, and it's to do with where we sit and who we are in that. The Sophianic codes are the original blueprint for the earth. It's the original blueprint, and it's complex, but in effect, Sophia is part of God, the monad, as they call it. And what Sophia did is she was part of a set of eons. They're called eons, and they're dualistic, they're polarity attributes that exist in a non-physical environment. And she wanted to experience she wanted the monad to experience the full-blown creativity of its own consciousness in a material world. So she descended down. Some of the kind of more shallow interpretations is that there was a fall. Sophia fell into the material world. She didn't fall. She came down, she descended, and she knew what she was doing, and she created the material world. But she didn't bring her male counterpart with her. And it was interesting what was saying earlier about the male-female balance. And we absolutely have to have that hieros gamos union, that divine union. It's the bridal chamber in the Christian sort of text. So she didn't bring her male counterpart with her, because she knew that the male counterpart would basically put boundaries on her abundance and her creative spirit. But the outcome of that is that she produced this, what they call the demiurge. And the demiurge is this lower, lesser god that, when it realized what she'd created, was like, well, I'm the most powerful thing here. And that is why we're living in this crazy world, because it's not a perfect world. It's a very, very difficult story for people to get their heads around if they think that it's a beautiful place we live in, because it's actually been taken over by this patriarchal energy. And one of the things that I've been involved with over the last 5 years is to actually take down the patriarch. Now, lots of people don't understand that. But it is this massive dominance of male, aggressive, lower vibe male energy that has been running the world, and that energy is going. It's gone. And 4 or 5 years ago, I had this download about this character called Yaldabaoth, and Yaldabaoth is the same person as the demiurge. And actually, Yahweh in the old Bible, in the Old Testament, is actually the demiurge too. Because if you look at Yahweh, it's an aggressive, it's all about obedience. It's not the true God. Yahweh is not the true God. It is a lesser God. So, as you can tell, I'm having these enormous downloads at the moment, and having to bring that energy into, or bring that frequency into my life. It's very difficult for me. It really is. And it's about the Sophianic codes. So Sophia wanted to create the most beautiful, abundant place in the universe. And I've always thought that the earth was the word the earth is an anagram of heart. As we know, it's heart. And I think one of the overlays is we've been told that we're just this planet in the middle of nowhere, sitting in the galaxy up there doing nothing. But I truly believe we are the center of the universe. That's my belief, because we live on the most abundant planet. Our planet is infinitely abundant. There is more life here than most other places. And not only that, but star family come down here and seed things and take it away with them. And we've known that for years and years and years, that star family uses the planet to actually create its own abundance from different experiments. So they come down, and there's all sorts of places around the world, evidence of star family coming here, actually planting things or bringing DNA here or bringing different types of, and then growing on Earth because it's so massively abundant, and then taking it away. So we're the guardians of this place. And what we're seeing at the moment with all this darkness is the end of the demiurge. It's the end. It's over. And I only realized this today, and it is really, really tricky. But I highly recommend people read some of these scriptures. They are instruction manuals on actually how to deal with all this really difficult energies that's going on. People might have heard about archonic energy, but the word archon comes from these texts. And the church has absolutely hidden all this information for years and years and years. So why suddenly, 1600 years later, have we got this full-blown, it's not in the Bible. The Bible is such a, excuse my language, shitstorm of a book. It really is, compared to the most incredible stories that were hidden. And we know about the book of Enoch, and we know about the book of Thomas, but this information is now coming out, and it's so fresh and so new. And it's hit me because I had this download about Yaldabaoth 4 or 5 years ago, and I went to see Lisa Raven. It was really interesting. And I said to Lisa, I don't know where this has come from, but I've been told to look into this character, Yaldabaoth. And she said, it's okay, like Yaldabaoth has left the planet. And I was like, what? Like, okay. And we had a conversation, and I think Rudolf Steiner knew about these stories.
Shiva, loads of deities have come, or beings have come from out there and influenced Earth's cultures, definitely.
Yeah. So I'm having to really work at the moment, Matt. I fell asleep before I came on today. I woke up with 5 minutes to go, and I was like, what am I going to say? Because I'm just full. I am so full. I am so full. And we're seeing this great awakening, and we are. Yeah. And what I've realized is that there are so many parallels with this work that I'm doing at the moment. And in the story, in the Gnostic story, there is 3 types of people. There are those people who actually just have no soul, and they're not even human. And in modern parlance, they're called the NPCs. Yeah. And there are those people which have soul but don't really care.
The wanderers. And the nobles.
And then there's the pneumatics, which are us. Yeah. And they're the people with the divine spark, and they're the people that what's happened is this. There is a group of humans on the planet, and I believe that we're part of it, and this is why we're here, that has the Sophianic spark, the original codes inside us. And that's why we know right from wrong. That's why we have a moral compass. That's why we have righteous anger towards all this darkness. And it's also why we're having a difficult time processing this harshness, because inside we have this divine spark. And we see it at the Shine. We see it with the people who come to the Shine, and it's like, well, we have creation spirit inside us. And it's a tough gig. It's a tough gig for us at the moment.
I think one thing to hold on to in that toughness, in that burden that you feel, is that you have a moral compass. You do have a heart. You have more ethics and morals, and otherwise, you wouldn't be thinking like that. You wouldn't be caring. And the fact that you've come through all of this still with your heart intact, open and caring, means that you've got, a strong flow of light and those Sophianic codes going through you, because that means that your DNA is active. More of your DNA is active. So hold on to the fact that we are still loving, ethical, moral beings, and that's not, that's what's made us see the injustice of the world, because we've held on to those values, and you can say holding on to that light that we have within us, of love. So absolutely, but try and recognize that we've still got that light that's pulled us through all that darkness, as well, even though we're still processing it. We've got those wider signature frequencies.
I laugh at the darkness now. I have to. You have to mock the darkness.
Yes.
They don't like it. You can sing them out of existence. They're actually really feeble. It's just that there's so many overlays on us, and by shedding all that programming, we can actually stand up, and we're so much more powerful than they are. It's just we're only just learning to actually get into our own power. So it's a great place to be. I know that there's a huge mission for all of us. It's for all of us.
Yes.
To actually, there was a great quote. I went for lunch with a friend of mine this week, and he said, it's from Goethe, the German philosopher.
Yep.
And Goethe said, if you wash your front door and everybody in the world washes their front door, then everybody's front door will be clean. And I just thought that was a really beautiful way of putting it. If you do your own inner work, and everybody does their own inner work, then everybody's going to have their inner work done around the world. And I just thought that was really beautiful. And just as an aside, he also came up with this beautiful phrase. He said, there's the phrase, it's all bread and circuses, and we're seeing all this craziness. And he just said, the bread is stale and the circus is dull. And I just thought that was great. The bread is so stale now, and the circus is so dull.
We're so done with it.
So I know. So I'm kind of in this place of this, this kind of ancient pull I'm getting, which is actually completely modern, because it's only the last 20 years that it's actually fully been translated. But also, the fact that like Prince Andrew, being arrested is just awesome, because it's just the veil is just so broken. It's all just coming down like all the time, and they're trying to build the walls back up and keep it all the flood from, and it's just a huge tsunami.
This is what happens when you get like criminals having a criminal contract with each other. They don't trust each other, so when it all starts falling apart, they start dobbing on each other, and then it starts falling apart even more. And I'm just watching the show, just going, carry on.
Yeah, it's so funny, because I've known it for a long time that they choose, because obviously, because they're so dark. I mean, I'm not going to get into it too much, but because they're so dark, they lie to each other. They love lying. They don't mind killing each other. No. It's nothing to them. It's absolutely
they're
nothing.
more enslaved than we are.
Which one should we scapegoat now? That's what they're saying. Oh, who
I
should we
think
have?
we've got Mandy and Andy this week.
Yeah, that's it. It's literally like, who's going to be next, because they don't really care. They don't care about anybody or anything.
Yeah. What's even funnier is I know that like the upper echelons are desperately trying to go, no, we're all separate. No, we have nothing to do with it. We haven't known for years. No, we suddenly discovered let's seem to be doing good and arrest everyone, but the fuse is still coming to them. So it's them trying to moralize that they're separate when everyone knows that they knew. Everyone, even the Secret Services knew for years. Yeah. Everyone knew. And it's like people who speak out loud enough now are the ones who are the most guilty, and everyone's going, let's investigate him. So it's just it's a joke, but it's a funny one as well. And it's finally being revealed, and all this stuff can come out and be cleared, and hopefully, less children and people be abused. I kind of just want to end on one last thing that Staff Bounty said to me, and I thought it was so beautiful and so succinct and so simple. They said that basically with darkness, it can't get any darker. It's just dark. But with light, there's no limit to how bright it can go. There's no limit to how bright it can expand and grow and glow. So that's the difference between the power between light and dark. You know, darkness is a finite, self-collapsing system that can't support itself, whereas light can exponentially grow infinitely. So there we go.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. I appreciate you on the call. Thank you, Eli. Did you want to wrap up? Say something?
No, I was just going to say I was going to give my presentation, but I'm not in the space, Matt, at all.
Okay.
I just wanted to finish on, you're absolutely right. When the lady earlier talked about the abuse of women, and it has been, part of that Gnostic story is about, Mary, and about how Mary was Jesus's best mate, and all the other disciples were like, well, we're really jealous of Mary because Jesus loves Mary the most. Yeah, and I think that those Magdalene codes, the Sophia codes, the divine feminine, people talk about the divine feminine, the rise of that energy. It's so powerful. It's so all encompassing. And actually, the women do need to bring the men along as well. We're very wounded too, but it's a great journey, and we are actually all helping each other, and we are all holding each other's hands. So it is important that we recognize that we all need healing, and we can all help each other. The women need the men, and the men 100% need the women. We need soothing, ladies. The men need soothing. So I'm going to wrap up on that, and I many blessings to all of you.
Thank you. I'd say what the American Indians do. They say that they let the women sing the garden into fruition, and men protect the fence around that, basically, and allow the women to bring that beautiful garden into fruition. So we've all got our roles. So that's the wonderful thing. Thank you, everyone. I really appreciate you coming on the call. It's such a joy every week, and we got loads of positive things to talk about each week and new projects. And I've left a document just a bit about how humans are being funneled, but there's a way out of that because we don't have to comply with all these horrible systems. So yeah, see you guys next week, and have a lovely week and lots of love. And we've got this. We're doing it. We're doing it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye, Matt.
Bye. Bye.